Toyota says that since 1966, it's sold more than 46 million Corolla nameplate vehicles all around the world. This is the latest one, the all-new 2020 Corolla sedan. Now, like the Corolla hatchback that we drove and actually really liked last year, this one gets much cooler styling than before. It gets more features inside, and it's got Toyota's newest small car platform underneath the sheet metal. So I came down to Savannah, Georgia to take it for a drive. Now, the old Corolla wasn't much of a looker, but I think this one is a big improvement in the aesthetics department. And that starts with its underpinnings and proportions. Although the wheelbase is the same, the new Corolla is about 0.8 inch shorter in length than before, so you get shorter overhangs. And it's about 0.8 inch shorter in height as well, all of which gives it a slightly sportier stance on the road. Speaking of sportiness, both this XSE trim level and the SE trim level come with add-ons like these 18-inch wheels, the deeper front fascia, and things like a trunk spoiler and dual chrome exhausts. But you know, all 2020 Corollas I think have a much fresher and more modern look. I like the low nose, the tight, tidy headlights, and the grille design. Now, in profile, the new Corolla doesn't look all that different, but you definitely see some changes when you move around to the back. That new trunk design, the new tail lights, and of course, inside the trunk, there's still plenty of space, given this car's exterior dimensions, to carry all the stuff that you might need. The inside of the 2020 Corolla is also all new, although you might recognize it if you've looked at our reviews of the Corolla hatchback. It's a very, very similar layout overall, and it's pretty clean and straightforward. The materials in here are nice. They're all pretty soft to the touch, and on this XSE model, I get details like nicely bolstered seats, some stitching up here, so on and so forth. Now, in terms of practical touches, well, Toyota's engineers managed to make these A-pillars a little bit narrower than before, and to fit this new quarter panel in the windows. That helps with visibility around corners, especially in city situations when you're looking for pedestrians or other cars at intersections. As I mentioned up in the introduction, the new Corolla is on Toyota's newest small car platform that's called TNGA-C. It's shared with the Corolla hatchback that we liked before. Now, key reasons why that's better than before is that it's 60% more rigid than the old version, and you get multi-link rear suspension where the old Corolla had a torsion beam rear suspension, and that generally gives you better ride and handling quality. Now, like other cars on TNGA platforms, I actually think that the primary controls are really pretty good in this Corolla. The steering is really nicely accurate, and the brake pedal feel is really good. It makes a good first impression behind the wheel. Because I'm driving the sporty-ish XSE model, I've got a 2-liter inline-4 engine. No turbocharger, but it gives out 169 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. That's a perfectly fine amount of power for a small car like this. So far today, I haven't found myself wishing that it was more powerful. Overall, this powertrain behaves pretty well for a car like this. It's a CVT, so it's very smooth without any shifting. The engine isn't really too loud or thrashy. Speaking of loudness, and maybe you can even hear this, I was surprised by how much wind and road noise I'm noticing in the Corolla above city speeds. Now, it is an affordable car, yes, but I was hoping that it might be just a little bit quieter in here. Road noise is, of course, very dependent on the road you're driving in, so we'll have to get this car back in Michigan to give it a thorough evaluation, but first impressions are, I was expecting perhaps a slightly quieter cabin. On the other hand, this car rides pretty well, both around the city and on these higher speed roads out in the country. The XSE model, because it's supposed to be a little bit sportier, has 18-inch wheels with wider tires, and so it gets slightly upgraded springs and shocks to go along with that. But even so, I think the ride is actually still pretty good for this class of car. In terms of sportiness, though, it's certainly pretty sporty for a Corolla. I can go and put the CVT in sport mode or even manually shift it. But I think ultimately calling this car sporty is a bit like calling me athletic. It's sort of a relative measure. Although this 2-liter engine is good, it's not necessarily the engine that most Corolla buyers will get. It's only in the SE and XSE trim levels. In all the other Corollas, that's L, LE, and XLE, you get a 1.8-liter 4-cylinder. It's related to one that was in the old Corolla. It has 139 horsepower, and it has an older version of Toyota's CVT in it. For the first time, Toyota is also bringing a Corolla hybrid to the US market. That's going to get an impressive 52 miles per gallon combined. We're looking forward to having a chance to get behind the wheel later on. One thing that's important in all new cars is active safety technology. The Corolla is a great example of it. No matter which trim level you choose, from the cheapest $20,000 one on up, they all come standard with pre-collision braking with cyclist and pedestrian detection, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, lane tracing assist that helps keep you centered in your lane when you're driving on the highway, and even road sign recognition that'll show a little prompt with the current speed limit or even if you're approaching a stop sign. Now, of course, most of the Corolla's competition offers those features too, but what makes this model stand out is that they're all included as standard, even on the cheapest models. Fuel economy is pretty good in the new Corolla too. This XSE model with the 2-liter engine is rated for 31 miles per gallon city and 38 mpg highway. The SE, which also has the 2-liter engine, is rated for 31 city and 40 highway. Those are really good figures. Of course, those figures are for the 2-liter engine. For the volume trim levels, L, LE, and XLE with the older 1.8-liter engine and older CVT, fuel efficiency ratings aren't quite so good. They top out at 30 miles per gallon city and 38 mpg highway. Now, let's be honest, those are great numbers, but it's just worth remembering that the new Volkswagen Jetta can do 40 miles per gallon highway, and the Honda Civic has a trim level that'll do 42 miles per gallon highway. So while the Corolla's efficiency ratings are good, they're not quite class-leading. On the other hand, the Corolla's pricing is very, very good for the class. The base L model starts at just $20,430. The Corolla LE, which Toyota says will probably be the volume model, is just about $21,000. Even this loaded up XSE, the most expensive model, which I'm driving today, is about $26,000. Now that's less than some competitors when you load them up with options. And when you look at all the features that you can get on the Corolla, it's actually pretty good value for money. Now, I don't know that the 2020 Corolla is automatically becoming my favorite compact sedan around today. I still think the Honda Civic drives better. I think that the Mazda 3 and Volkswagen Jetta look better both inside and out. But you know what? This car is a big improvement over its predecessor, and after my drive today, I haven't found too much to criticize in it. Toyota says that for about a quarter of Corolla buyers, this is their first new car purchase. And it's really easy to see, especially with this new model, why it would be such a great first car. With loads of standard safety features to keep you protected on the road, with better styling, improved driving dynamics, and that really affordable pricing structure, well, there's a lot to like about the new 2020 Toyota Corolla.